Hi and welcome to the Wilson Chala's YouTube channel. We are dedicated to preserving and sharing Zambia's rich history through topics like culture, politics, finance, and education. From traditional ceremonies to trending stories, parliament proceedings, and everyday voices, we bridge Zambia's past to its future. Join us in building a timeless digital archive. And don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and now let us explore the story you've been waiting for.
Leaving a nation since the passing of Michael Sata, the former president of Zambia.
Here is what happened.
In honor of this remarkable event.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is your trusted source for balanced commentary, analysis, documentaries, and latest development from Zambia and beyond. In today's video, we'll carefully examine today's topic by separating the facts from opinions, providing context, and helping you understand why this story matters. I encourage you to watch until the end because the last section always contains the most important concept that you need to watch. Now let's start.
Before the pause, 3 days to be precise. How do you describe the campaigns?
Yeah, let me start by saying that we have just arrived from Uchinga province, where I have spent the past number of days campaigning for President Hakainde Hichilema, and also to let the audience understand the fact that our party, the New Nation Party, is a member of the UPND Alliance. And our alliance presidential candidate is President Hakainde Hichilema. And therefore, the past number of days, I have targeted my home district of Chinsali to campaign and ensure that the people in that place understand the reason why we believe that President Hakainde Hichilema is the best fit for the next 5 years. Talking about the campaigns, my experience not only in Uchinga province, but across the country where we have gone to campaign, is that I am extremely impressed by the mood in the nation. I was talking to a gentleman who had come from another country, and I was very surprised that it doesn't even feel like you guys are having an election. He said, if in Kenya everything is upside down, towards the election. But this is the first time that we have seen such a calm campaign. And I would like to answer a question that has been asked to me several times about the campaigns and the nature of the campaigns, that I am very confident that we are going to have a very peaceful election. We have had peaceful campaigns and continue to do so. We have had a few problems in the recent past, which we have all roundly condemned, on both sides. It is because I've come to learn that Zambians hate chaos, Zambians hate violence, and it is my considered view that the violence we've seen in the past is instigated by politicians who probably are uptight or they are desperate, and they try to force our young people to go to the forefront and get injured and get killed. So any kind of violence, especially in this election, no Zambian should tolerate it, regardless of which side of this election.
Do you think police are a bit slow? Because we've seen this violence and not much of arrests.
Yeah, I think that let us be clear that the police have a major responsibility to be totally non-partisan. And this is not a joke. Zambians do not like to see any policeman being partisan in the way they administer justice. So it is in the interest of all of us that the police understand they are serving all of us on both sides of the aisle. And I think President Hakainde Hichilema and myself, having been in the opposition for a long time, we do understand how important it is to be treated fairly when you are in a campaign. But you must also understand the police also face their own challenges. President Hakainde Hichilema has made it clear that I really do not want the tear gas days to come back. And so, there is a view by the police that they should not be seen to be getting so involved to become the problem, to escalate the problem. And sometimes they wait to see the best way to resolve that issue. And I think it's that weight that makes it look like they're being ineffective. But the general position of the president, ourselves in the alliance, and all Zambians is that wherever we smell violence, all of us condemn it. And we are the leaders in the region for peaceful transitions, democratic transitions. We are known to be peaceful, and we should not lose our title in the region of being the peacemakers and the ones who are able to have an election that is free and fair, but without violence.
I know I'll get back to the issue of violence later on in the program, but for now, let's look at the issues. What are the issues in this year's election?
Well, like every other election, the issues are the bread and butter issues. I think every Zambian, all that he wants is to have, first of all, peace, to have order, security, but also to make sure that the commodities are affordable, the prices are at a level where a Zambian can have what he needs for his sustenance and for his family. That is obvious. The Zambian wants to ensure that the health care is available
Hi guys,
and accessible.
Sorry, we just have to pause this video. According to the new YouTube policy, we just have to leave a significant commentary in the video. So if you enjoy this video, please remember to subscribe, like and share with your friends and families. Turn on the notification button so that you are able to see the video always when I post. And don't forget to watch this video up to the end for you to enjoy the full content of our videos. Leave a positive comment in the comment sections. It helps us to improve our channel rather than bad comments. This video will continue very shortly. Stay with me, continue
able to be
watching
consistent
video.
and have a clear plan, and a plan that he can announce to the Zambian people, that they can say, yes, this is the path we are following for economic recovery. And I think that this president, Hakainde Hichilema, has done an excellent job. President Hakainde Hichilema has done an excellent job in explaining the trajectory of the economy, where we are going, to the extent that we now understand that he found the economy in this shape, and he put in place a plan of restructuring the debt so that now we can have an opportunity to run an economy without being constrained by an economy that is collapsing.
I was going to ask you that question, because clearly this is an election between the opposition, as always, between the opposition and the ruling. And you've already endorsed President Hichilema in the UPND in this race, and the justification is now what you're putting across. You've started with the economy. And why do you think people still feel the economy is not right?
Well, I think that for those of us that have been in Zambia for a long time, we do understand that every government faces this. But I think, to be fair, it is important to acknowledge the state in which the country was before the president under discussion took over office. And it is very clear to the Zambian people that in 2021, the economy of this country was collapsing in itself. You remember the difficulties we had, even in meeting our external obligations of our debt repayment. We failed to make payment to the extent that it really brought embarrassment to us as a country. But the truth of the matter is that the economy was collapsing. And it is that type of economy that we got. The inflation, of course, was at 24%. We know that the interest rates were high. We know that the kwacha was weak. We know that the Zambian people were scrambling to survive. And that is why, Grevasio, they voted out that government by a historic 2.8 million. And let's not underestimate that fury from the Zambian people. The question I have for the Zambian people is that why did you vote like that to remove PF? What did they do wrong? And why do you think now they won't continue to do that wrong? I'm just saying that because I'm explaining why we are supporting the alliance. The reason we felt that we need to be with this alliance. So I think that we are now looking at a situation where this president has had now to restructure the economy. Now that he brings things that were not even possible, like free education. He does things that were not even conceivable in our minds. That is to raise the CDF from 1.6 million to 40 million. So it's these acts of bravery and precision and being methodical in healing the economy of our country that made people like ourselves, the New Nation Party, and many other parties that came together, 15 of us, to stand solidly with President Hakainde Hichilema, that he may continue to build on these successes so that our country is not going to be a banana republic, but a country to be admired not only in the region, but globally as it is today.
You do a nice list of what has been achieved. But then some people may ask, it could be a simplistic question in a way, why then do you have to campaign so hard? Well, does it mean people are not feeling the good things that the ruling party has done?
You know, I'll give an example.
And you were in Chinsali, you spent so many days there,
yes,
trying to convince people to understand the successes. Did you have to do that?
Life is about communication. Yeah. You know, example, when I was appointed vice president by President Levi Mwanawasa, he took me in his office and said to me, I don't like talking. This is what we are doing and this is what we have done. I was amazed when he told me what government was doing and achieving, and nobody knew what government was doing, because there was no communication, effective communication between government and the people of this country. So you can be doing all the wonderful things, but if there's no communication, Zambians won't know about it. Arising from that, he told me that's why one of the reasons he appointed me vice president, to be able to help in articulating those gains that have been made by government. And that's how come my office at that time of the vice president introduced what you still have today at ZNBC, the Government Forum. I introduced that program. And the idea for Government Forum was for ministers to appear on television, radio every week, directly speaking to the Zambian people, and Zambian people asking real-time questions. And so we are going to campaign because we want to communicate with the Zambian people what this administration, Alliance or European Alliance, has done for the Zambian people. We cannot take it for granted that they do understand. I think that it is our role to get out to the remotest part of this country and explain these great gains, great progress that has been made by this administration, because the Bible says if they don't hear, how shall they know? And therefore, it is our responsibility to campaign.
When you go down, what message are you finding? What are the opposition saying? What have they planted? What are they promising? Is it better? I know exactly clearly this election is a comparison of the past, present, and of course, charting the way forward, looking at the future.
I think the opposition is having a real difficult time. In terms of the construct of their message, they don't have it, because when you talk about free education, for instance, which President Hakainde Hichilema has provided for the Zambian people, their reaction to that is that, yeah, we'll keep the free education and we'll make it even better in order to facilitate for more Zambians. But it's already done. So Zambians are saying, you didn't do it when you're in government. Your friend does it. Now you're saying you're just going to improve on it. So it's not a mark for them. They have gone out there to say that HH has failed. They can't quantify the failure. This gentleman, this president, has reconstructed a broken down economy, which they broke down. And if you notice, the opposition keeps telling us in the alliance that we should not talk about the PF and what they did. We should tell the Zambian people what we're going to do for them. But you know, the reason we have the history class in schools is so that we are more intelligent in how we face the future. Just now, your question is, you deal with the yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And yesterday was bad for Zambian people. That's why they removed the PF. HH came and reconstructed this economy. Today, we are dealing with one of the best performing currencies in the world. The kwacha is bullish right now. We are so respected in the region because our kwacha is bullish. It's making progress. It's backed up by production. It's backed up by good policies. It's backed up by a vision of a party or a government that knows where they want to take the Zambian people. So it's these things that they cannot challenge, because they had an opportunity to give free education. They didn't. They had an opportunity to increase CDF, to make it more useful to the communities. They did not do that. They had an opportunity to remove cadreism, from the country, where Zambians could freely participate in the economy without being abused by the cadres. They did not do that. So the Zambian people are saying, why are you now saying you could have done it as well and you're going to do it? So I think the message, to answer your question, of our colleagues in the opposition is basically that whatever HH has done, we'll add on there and do better. And the Zambians are saying, then it's better to keep this gentleman who has started these programs to finish them in the next 5 years.
Let's look at the achievements, and let's probably start with the aspect of governance.
Yeah.
When you compare, you're looking at the past, the present, and what do you hope that the future is going to bring, the promise?
First of all, governance must create the first basis, which is peace in the country. And that peace comes through uniting the country. When the country is united, then you have a basis upon which you can build an economy. If we are not united and we are thinking tribe, we are thinking region, we cannot develop this country, because peace is really the basis for the development of any people. The Bible says how blessed and good it is when the brothers dwell together in unity. It's a blessing. So when we live together in unity, you and I can talk about development. So I think that is one thing that this government has provided. Secondly, this government has looked at the fact of giving Zambians an opportunity to break the yoke of poverty. Let me talk about something that the opposition keeps raising through social media. They keep saying that, well, look, unemployment, has grown to such levels that the young people do not have, employment. Jobs. It's a lie. This is what they call social media chatter. The truth of the matter is that, in 2021, for instance, unemployment was at 12.6%, I believe. And then today, we are looking at I believe it's low, much lower than that. It's 9.9. So I think it is important for us to look at figures before we make these big statements that the unemployment has worsened. Unemployment has reduced ever since this government came in. They say poverty has increased. It is not true. Poverty was somewhere like 76% levels, and now it's at 60. So where are they getting these figures to give the impression that things are getting worse, except propaganda?
There's a talk of high cost of living.
High cost of living.
Is that propaganda as well, too? Or it's something that is
but
real?
the reason
That's reality that has to be addressed by the government.
High cost of living has to be addressed by government, and it is being addressed by government. And to tell you the truth, for me, all of us know that what this administration has been doing is the right thing to do. They found a broken down economy. What do they do now? Is to reconstruct the economy. In other words, Zambia is like a vehicle, and we change drivers so often. And the last driver that we had, had created a knock engine in the engine of the vehicle, and therefore when this new president came, he had to take time to repair the engine. And now, after 5 years, Hakainde Hichilema has repaired the engine by dealing with a debt problem, by ensuring that monetary policy positions are created that make the economy start to grind again. He goes to the mining sector and makes sure mining comes back on board in order for us to strengthen our economy. He has gone back to agriculture to ensure that we raise the fortunes in the agricultural sector. He goes to tourism and continues to raise those issues. Now, what do we have? We have an economy that has started to respond. So the engine is being repaired, but we are now test driving this vehicle. And the next 5 years, this vehicle now is going to move to the destination that we all want. So the point I'm trying to make is that do not start this discussion at the point of high cost of living. High cost of living has been created by what has happened in the past. Now things are changing. Milimi was going to 400, 500 kwacha. It is coming down now to 200 kwacha. And HH said it was going to happen that way. Energy sector was in a mess when this administration took over. It was a mess because at the end of the day, the load shedding was taking 22 hours, 23 hours. And people in the opposition said, this is going to bring down HH because he's not going to fix this. Well, here we are today. The election is 3 days from today. The issue of load shedding is gone. These are things that Gravazio, the Bible only gives us one way of judging or assessing a leader. It says, you shall not know them by their speeches, not by their suits, not by their tribe, but you shall know them by their fruit. The fruit of HH has been consistent, methodical. He thinks through. He plans on how we're going to get this country out of this trouble. And I like to work with people that can think ahead, because that's the way I am. We raised the church ministry in Kitwe many years ago. You were there. You and Kitwe with me. We started from nothing, from nowhere, and it became an international organization. But that did not happen by accident. It is methodical planning, being consistent, and that's what he has done to give us this. So I can assure you that the prices will continue to go down, because now the economy has been structured. Now that the functioning of the economy has started, we are going to see millimil coming down. We're going to see commodities coming down. We're going to see job creations. We are going to see that productivity is going to grow in this country. So for me, I have no doubt that the path that President Hakainde Hichilema has taken is going to raise this country to levels that are going to make us one of the proudest nations in the region and on the continent. To us Zambians, we feel the pain because we live in this country. That before this thing unfolds, like we have said over the past number of years, 5 years, the heavy lifting has now been done. Now what is left is that the seed is sown, the seed has been watered. Now the next 5 years we're going to start to see the seed, the fruit growing. And
so I was going to ask you to be on two issues. Either to say, where is the economy now? Is it at takeoff stage? Has it taken off already? Is it the point where residents can harvest fruit? And in a nutshell, would you say the partner that you're supporting for re-election has achieved the promises they made?
I think the partner that we're working with is achieving the promises that he made. If you were to ask me that question overall, in a general situation, where is the economy? I think we are on your marks, get set, go. Why? Because now what was broken has been fixed. There's nothing that should stop us, hold Zambia back. I think the mistake we'd make is to try to change the driver at this time. we change the driver at this time, we create a crisis. The crisis is if anybody else comes and tries to take this wired up economy, which has been worked on for the past 5 years, to restructure it, and even worse, if it goes into the hands of those who had it before, then we are heading in a very dangerous direction.
Do you think they'll reverse the gains?
Yes.
Do they have an option other than going forward?
No, they'll reverse the gains. I can tell you that. You know, here is a problem that our colleagues have. And you must know, we respect them. I mean, these are Zambians. We love them. They are my brothers. But you must understand that everything has got its time. The Tonse Alliance, it's a hodgepodge arrangement. They came together in the last minute before nomination. Truly speaking, they had no time to sit down as you and I are sitting and say, my brothers, how are we going to run this economy? What are we going to do different from what we were doing yesterday? That is why in their comments, they keep saying, we will run the economy the same way President ECL ran the economy. And I understand what they mean. That's all they know. But what is that which they know? It is what crashed this economy. And so I know Zambians are angry.
Don't you think they're sitting now and talking and have a vision, the plan for them to put themselves up for leadership?
They have no time to sit and plan. They were born in campaign. They were born on the platform campaigning to take over power. They have not had to, even the document they call their manifesto, they are going to read it after the election, not now. They don't have time to sit down and read and plan in order for them to understand it. Yes, they have got a manifesto, but I can tell you that if they are going to base it on what they used to do before, Zambians are in for a big shock. And I would like to encourage Zambians that yes, we don't have everything that we need to have. Things are not as cheap as we would like them to be. But this economy is being admired internationally. Why? Because it's a respectable economy. It's an economy that makes sense. It's an economy where an investor would come with pride and invest huge sums of money in order for us to move forward. So what is happening now happened, in 2011. I said what I'm about to say now. I said, if the PF win the 2011 election and defeat MMD, I said the country will spin 20 years behind economically. And this is 20 years later. And we are still trying to fix what the PF broke in 2011 because the economy just started to go down. Every economic fundamental began to go down.
What made you say that?
Well, it
15 years back. What made you say that?
What made me say
prophecy?
No, I can't call it really prophecy. I knew my big brother. My big brother, the late President Sata, he has a big heart. He had a big heart. He was populist. He wanted to do that and do that, but the resource envelope we knew was limited. And he decided to do so much without a resource envelope. So the production side was not really being looked into seriously. It started to crumble, and yet the expense side continued to rise. You don't run an economy like that. You don't run your home like that. The income must be able to sustain the expenses that you are putting out. So I said what I said because I knew my elder brother that was going to happen, and it happened. And even the PF agreed that no, maybe we're too ambitious. So I think that if we do it now again, we are going to go back. And I do know that when you are angry with a president, you're angry with a government, you don't care who you vote for. My view is that the current Tonse leadership, they are not ready to move this country forward. That's from where I watched like I did 15, 20 years ago. They are not ready. Because at the end of the day, for me to say, Grevasio, run this country, I think we need to look at your life. Right now, Hakainde Chilema stands here, Brian Mundubile stands here. And let's know them by their fruit. Let's not be in a hurry because we have taken a side. Nevers Mumba shouldn't be in a hurry because he has taken a side. You should not be in a hurry because you have taken a side on the Tonse Alliance. Let's think Zambia first. Let's think the future of our children first. What is it that Honorable Mundubile has done in this country for this country that shows a dedication of patriotism, heroism, commitment to the values of this country and ready to pay the price? Ending up in him being in jail, being jailed for standing up for the Zambian people. I don't see that. I don't see.
Does everybody have to be jailed?
No, they don't have to be jailed. But there has to be something that says, regardless, he can die for this country. You've got to see that aspect in somebody who wants to become president.
Somebody who argues has been in government, so probably understands the government system and how it runs.
No, I'm not talking about being in government. Many people have been in government. They just had jobs and had contracts. And this is a...
Well, while we look at him, maybe not to make it individual, like we just focusing on him. What about the other candidates?
So now we
there's Harry Kalaba, there's Fred Membe, there's 14 others,
by the way,
13 others.
And I'm glad you've done that because that's so important. You know, in 2001, we, as MMD, we had a problem. We were fixed on FDD as the threat to us. So we spent so much time trying to deal with the FDD and to find out how we can win the election. Little do we know, the one we're not thinking of was the one who was going to become second, which was UPND under Anderson Mazoka. And so sometimes we have all these concepts of who is going to win or who's going to come second, and it's maybe a dark horse somewhere. So when you mention Harry Kalaba and Fred Membe, who knows? We may be thinking the big boys here at Tonse, only to see Harry Kalaba becoming second.
They still don't come to you as people that have enough capacity to run the country?
Well, I do not. I can't say much about that. I don't want to put names to what I've said. I just want
to
say...
You didn't just put names to Brian.
No, Brian and HH are in the running right now. They are the ones that are out there, and we should be able to scrutinize them. You see, one thing I like about the United States is that they are not afraid to challenge those who want to stand and to ask them questions about their individual behavior and character. And also, if you look at what happened to Brian, Honorable Brian Mundubile, not too long ago, when he appeared on BBC, he had what we call a policy freeze. A policy freeze is like a health freeze, where he's being asked questions, but he doesn't seem to have a hold on what he needs to say as what he's going to do for the country. In the United States, we call it the Biden effect. You remember when Biden was, having what do you call that? The debate with Donald Trump. He froze, and that freezing where he could not make sense of anything brought him down, because Americans are not like that. And it was the Democrats themselves who said, no, let's rethink about who stands for us. In Africa, we don't care whether somebody understands politics or understands economics. As long as we think he can make us win an election, we put him there. We only regret afterwards. So I think when you look at HH, I've talked a lot about this at HH has a history of resilience. 5-6 times failed to win the election. He stayed with it. And whenever he spoke on issues that affected Zambian people, he was arrested close to 15 times. Myself, I was arrested about 12 to 15 times as well. Why? Because you've got to stand on something you can die for, something you can sacrifice for on behalf of the Zambian people. Then we can say you're a leader. So as we go to the elections, let's look at these individual candidates. What is the gravitas that they have? What is that spirit to fight for the Zambian people that they have demonstrated? What kind of sacrifice are they ready to make for the sake of the country? Let's not do it because we're angry. We are going to just vote this out and bring this in. You cannot think like that. We have children that we have to look after. We have a country that needs to rise and become the #1 country on the continent of Africa.
The opposition, there are a number of issues that are focusing on a list of things that they feel the UPND has failed on to achieve. One of them you've tackled already, high cost of living, youth unemployment, you've already tackled. There's another allegation. On the other side, they may say it's a fact. On the other side, it's an allegation that there's a decline in democracy.
The word decline is wrong, and I've dealt with that. There's an improvement.
But there's a common word which is being used.
A lot of people that are saying that, they are bringing the issue of those that have been arrested and some of them imprisoned for corruption. And they're saying that they are arresting the opposition and putting them away. Listen, if there are any people in this country, maybe two, it will be President Hakainde Hichilema and myself, who would hate to reduce democracy for anybody because of what we went through ourselves. President Hakainde Hichilema has said this in my face. I will not be party to creating an environment that existed before we took over office, where Nevers Mumba had to hold his rallies in the bush out there in Mambwe, in the mountains, because everywhere we went, tear gas was there. Everywhere the police were there. We could not campaign, and we vowed that God giving us an opportunity to have some kind of power to govern, we should never subject any Zambian to what we went through. And so for me, I think that they have exaggerated the issue of saying that there is a reduction of democratic space. They have to give it
shrinking democratic.
Shrinking. They have to give more information as to what they mean. Is it those who have been questioned for what they did when they are in office and that they feel that that is a shrinking of democracy? Or is it something that they can quantify for all Zambians, that Zambians are feeling tied up? I know, to help you, they're talking about the cyber laws, that the cyber laws are the ones that have become really
too tight for the residents.
For the residents.
They can't speak.
Yeah. My view is this: these cyber laws This cyber law was made by President Isi and the PF. Okay,
Revised by the UPND.
revised by the UPND. My argument is this, and it has been the reason I joined politics as a pastor. Some of them say they restrict what we say. What they're actually saying is that they have stopped us from insulting and lying about Grevasio. If they can insult Nevers Mumba freely, then they think it's democracy and the space is open. If they can lie about Nevers Mumba or Hakainde Hichilema and lie about him, then democracy is good. I do not think that is. You can actually be a good politician without insulting. That's my belief. You can be a good politician without lying. But there are people who consider cyber law as a thing that stops them from being abusive against others. And I do not think that anybody with a vision for this country can fail to make his case with a good language, respectful language. And that language cannot be subjected to cybercrime because you are not, insulting anybody or lying against anybody. And why should cybercrime scare you? Unless you want to abuse it. So for me, I do not think that you should blame President Hakainde Hichilema for this. That law was in place when he took over. They refined it to ensure that they protect everybody, not just those in government. Even those in the opposition must be protected by this law. And that is what this law is all about.
There's a concern that is probably applied selectively.
It should never be applied selectively. And let me say to the Zambian people, I am one of those people who is a proponent of making sure that justice is equitable. Anywhere, if there is injustice in UPND government, we must call it out. Because this is not about UPND government. Like I said, President Hakainde Hichilema is a driver today. Tomorrow there'll be another driver. Tomorrow there'll be another driver. Tomorrow there'll be another driver. So these drivers, we give them the opportunity to do that. But to manage ourselves, we must ensure that every Zambian has access to his freedoms. And if there's a place where you feel your freedoms are being restricted, we have the courts of law. You can go there and make your case. That's how come MMD got power from UNIP. There were so many restrictions. We had to take almost every one of those restrictions to court. And as we won those court cases, those opened up. And I think that that should continue in a democracy where you feel grieved, go to court, so that that issue could be addressed.
We've seen more independents, a number of independents. We saw them spring up as nominations approached. They filed their nominations, but then there's an uncomfortable approach that people are calling uncomfortable. A number of them are withdrawing, and a number of them throwing their weight behind the UPND, and this has given rise to allegations of people being bought, if you may use that word. And how do you defend that? Are you part of the buyers?
Our position, am I part of the buyers? No, not at all. Our position remains the same. Anything that's illegal in this election must not be allowed. It must never be allowed. But the nature of democracy is that you and I can discuss anything. Democracy is about negotiation. It's about bringing your ideas on the table. If I think that you want to stand, and you should not be cheated. Before people are nominated and given the opportunity to stand, there's a lot of democratic discussions and debate. No, I'm more popular, then we talk about it, said, no, you can wait, you can do it tomorrow, you can do it the other day. So I think that if people still can discuss and talk about what they are proposing to you, for instance, if they say, step away.
As we conclude today's discussion, remember that every major story has different perspectives, and understanding those perspectives helps us become better informed citizens. The purpose of this channel is not only to report or comment on events, but always to educate and encourage respectful discussions and promote critical thinking based on public available information. Whether you agree or disagree with today's topic, we encourage you to express your views respectively in the comment sections. Health debate is part of democracy, provided it remains respectful and constructive. If you learned something new today, please support the channel by liking this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You can also explore our playlists featuring Zambian documentaries, parliament highlights, trending stories, educational content, and more. Thank you for spending your time with us today. Until next time, stay informed, stay respectful, and remember, knowledge is most powerful when it is shared responsibly. God bless you, God bless Zambia, and I will see you in the next video.